Hello and welcome back to another episode of Boys Gone Wild. Thank you very much for joining us. Last episode before Crimboyd,
Yes.
before the holidays. Is this a holiday special?
This is a holiday special.
Andrew's
Can't you
looking
tell? Christmassy.
very Christmassy. I was a bit taken aback when you came in, actually.
I know,
I had
you
a little chuckle to myself because you look like a little princeling.
I look like a 3-year-old girl's drawing of a cow.
You look like you belong on a Milka bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rapper.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just I look like a 3-year-old's drawing of a cow.
Yeah. You look like a little chocolate prince.
A little chocolate prince boy with booties on.
Is that your jumper or is that your gal pals?
It's my gal pals.
Is it your gal
yeah.
dems?
It's not mine.
It's
the Christmas.
Lilac. Yeah.
It's Christmassy.
Yeah. Would you wear that if you were a father?
I resent the leading question.
Or do you think your son would not respect you as much?
Can
Can you be a dad in lilac?
You can be a dad in lilac up to the age of 12.
Yeah, because
Once the kid's 13, then
because lilac dad is a tough dad to pull off.
I think if you get
What's your favourite colour, Dad? Lilac. You can't say that.
Well, you can. Well, I mean, it's getting. I think at the age of 12, the power struggle's starting. So you've got to
use everything
crush
in your
him
locker.
down.
You've got to use everything in your locker, and if you've got
So
lilac,
get all your lilac out of the way before they hit 12.
you don't see lilac.
You don't
often.
much, do you?
Yeah.
But you are now.
Yeah,
It's
no,
very
nice.
kind
It's
of
the combo of
soft
lilac
boy.
and knitwear, which is the double combo.
Well, I wore a tie-dye knitwear piece the other day.
A little-
to the Christmas
number?
meal. Remember?
What was that?
It was a tie-dye knitwear piece.
What type of knitwear? What piece?
A jumper.
What was the colours?
Quite similar. I was confused, but this is different. But she just left
Was it
here.
your galleys as well?
Yeah. I haven't. It's actually coming up to.
Why do
Andrew's-
you don't buy any clothes, but you have more money than?
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
It's actually coming up to Andrew's tri-yearly clothes purchasing.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm going to come back looking fresh.
A
after the
fashionista?
January sales, yeah.
Because you lost a lot of items. 2 of them are mine.
An astonishing amount of
Yeah,
items.
you've been
It
on
is
an
really. I don't know how it happens.
You've been on an absolute. I mean, I'm pretty bad with it. Something that also I've been really bad at, which is why I can never really keep a. It's so important to have a good jumper or a good sweatshirt, but I can't seem to keep one down. I seem always in the quest for a sweatshirt because I'm always ruining it with oil stains, which are the
What
worst
oil?
kind of stuff. So some pak choi.
Right. Yeah, it's always Pat Choy with you.
I was in central London at my favourite noodle joint.
Name it.
Langjois.
We need a new sponsor now.
Yeah, Langjois, outside Leicester Square, and it's one of the most stressful
How
experiences.
many other noodle joints do you know?
Oh, that's the only one.
So it's your favourite?
It's
That's
the-
so fucking you.
No, it's not. I know. I'm actually well versed in noodle joints in the area.
You do that. You do these kind of jokes when you actually get a bit defensive, but you try and play it
No,
off
no,
as a
but
joke.
no, I do actually. I'm very aware of the history and the culture of noodles. But
Noodle
this is
joints.
noodle joints.
Yeah.
But this place, handmade noodles, good noodles, but it's it's a very stressful eating experience.
Right.
It's just outside Leicester Square, so you're all crammed onto a bench. It's a small table, and they just cram you on
Right.
with like 2 other parties, if you will.
I will.
And sometimes you're not even across from each other. Sometimes you're sitting next to each other, and they're
Yeah.
sitting next to each other. And
The
so I was
oil's being just thrown
well,
about.
then we had noodles, but obviously there's a lot of carbs in there, so we wanted some veg to sort of take the edge off. So we got some pak choi in oyster and garlic sauce, and they're wet little leaves.
Because they're drenched in oyster
Yeah,
and garlic sauce.
and so when I picked the first one up, blam, oil on there,
oil
annoying.
on there. You can get away
No,
with
that exactly. That's what I thought.
Right.
Picked up the next one, oil on here,
Well,
blam.
that's a classic.
I should have taken it
41
off, but if I was
situation.
trying to take it off, I couldn't because I was crammed between, 2 other parties.
So now you don't have a jumper.
I'm going to take it back to my mum's and see what she can
Mums
do about
can
it.
always sort out oil stains.
You hope so.
Yeah.
You'd hope so, but it's that clear oil stain
We've got a,
I hate so much. It's like, because if you get a bit of olive oil,
Yeah.
you can't get that. That's it.
Well, this is becoming, at the risk of becoming not interesting, but we have a...
Take that leap of faith.
yeah.
Take that leap of faith,
but
Andrew.
we have like a stain remover downstairs.
Do
If you-
we?
If you squirt it on before you wash it, it might do the job.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was looking. Okay, that's good to know. Actually, I
Yeah.
might actually do that.
It's actually quite handy.
But
An
because
oxy.
it's like getting sauce on there. That's kind of all right. It's
Depends
thick
how-
oil.
Depends on the sauce, really.
What sauce wouldn't be all right?
Well, an oily sauce.
I guess so. If that's
Like
Yeah.
Greek.
dressing.
Yeah.
I still think that'd be all right.
Do you reckon?
It's that extra virgin olive oil, which is way too common. Which is way too common a kind of cooking oil to ruin clothes forever.
Well, how are you spilling oil on yourself when you're cooking?
It's not when I'm cooking. When I used to do it is when I was making ravioli, not making ravioli, cooking heating up a ravioli, and then I'd put some olive oil on it.
Right.
And then
where are you getting? Is it the spit from the pan?
No, this is after I've made it, and then when I pick up a piece of ravioli, it might drip down.
So you don't spill oil on you when you're cooking.
It's happened before.
How? I don't think I've ever spilled oil on me.
Maybe it spat at me. Maybe
a spit when you're making like a steak.
Yeah, maybe it spat at me, but it's much more common.
It's an angry condiment. It's not even a condiment.
It's true, but it's like I've ruined maybe 4 sweatshirts with clear oil stains because it's the subtleness of it as well. Because it's you can't respect someone if they've got like a weird
the colour. The colour looks dirtier than if you had like a tomato stain on it.
It's clear.
It's really gross.
It's horrible, and it's impossible to remove.
It looks like a stereotype of an unhygienic person.
Yeah, exactly.
To have a few, it's like
a drawing. It's like a drawing.
Yeah, of like someone
of a drunk
kid
dad
who's not doing very well.
Yeah,
or like a 17-year-old layabout.
What I need is an oil jumper, but
made of oil.
Not made of oil.
Then you couldn't spill any oil on it.
No, not a jumper made of oil.
Then you couldn't spill any oil on it.
No, one which is like a giant apron jumper, sort of. Oh, just an apron.
I've got an apron downstairs.
Maybe I should eat in an apron, but that's
pathetic.
That's
pathetic. Eat in an apron.
And when it's got really chilly, I have.
You used to do the bib, didn't you? I used to remember seeing you tuck
I did used to do the bib. That's because of I've stopped doing it. But it's because
was that when we were in London that you started doing the bib?
No, I did it at uni.
Oh God, yeah.
I've been bibbing for a while because I need to.
Yeah. I don't think there's any shame in a bib. I don't judge people for a bib.
Do you judge
apron.
me that I sometimes have to eat with my chin resting on the lip of the plate, the bowl?
It's an interesting question. I would never judge you in our own house, but if
I'm going to a restaurant,
if you took that out, then
I'm not going to Langlois and going like this. If I had, I wouldn't have ruined this jumper.
Have ruined the jumper. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a bit of your kind of
the many, not the few.
Yeah, yeah, precisely. Yeah. But I know I don't judge bibbers at all. I wouldn't judge a bibber out in a restaurant.
Do you think maybe there's a bit too much of an unnecessary stigma around a bib?
I think there actually is
because it's actually not being a pussy.
I think the problem is it's associated with children because children always wear bibs.
Well, if you have the one with the thing at the bottom,
like so you can eat the rest of it later.
No, that's not why it's there, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not a baby trough.
You just go down with a straw and then suck the rest of it.
No, that is if you have a bib, maybe
it's like a catcher. It's like a net. It's essentially what you're wearing. You're wearing a food net because you can't put it straight into your mouth.
But you can very it's the classy
You are
way.
bad with this because I used to be.
Yeah.
I'm not anymore.
No.
Are you eating too quickly?
Maybe.
Do you eat quickly? I don't think you're that bad.
It's a dyspraxic thing for sure.
Everything's a fucking dyspraxic
No, not
thing.
everything's a dyspraxic
How is it a dyspraxic thing to eat quickly?
No, to get spill.
Fair enough.
Yeah, to spill. But I think we need to normalise that
Bibs.
you're not a massive pussy if you have a bib. No, if you have a napkin, but
And
if you have
can
a
still
plastic,
be straight if you wear a lilac knitwear.
Well, I don't want to throw.
Let's not go too far.
Don't tag that on the end of the point I was making because I need to think about that. But if the bib is plastic, then that's when it's too far.
Like see through.
Yeah, if it like makes that noise when you tap it.
Right.
No, thick.
Like thick. Oh yeah, God. You can knock on it.
Imagine going to a restaurant with a big plastic bib with the catcher at the bottom.
You remember in like films when there's
hold up.
Yeah, remember some films, right? You're with it on films.
I'm there.
We're good on films,
yeah. Will Smith.
That's the one. Yeah, and there's something quite classy. It's often when they're at like a French restaurant, and they'll be like they kind of get the napkin out, and then they tuck it quite delicately into their into their shirt, and there's something quite sophisticated.
The Godfather. You'd feel
films,
like
films.
The rap pack, like the kind of the back when we had class. When people were wearing suits out and about, when films, the classes, when everyone was smoking indoors, that was the time when you'd have a thick napkin and you put it like that.
You kind of place it in with all these two, just these pincers, and you just tuck it in.
Have a glass of red wine, and then you have a straw that goes around your glasses.
I think part of the problem with and the beer can helmet that goes the straws from the two beer cans. But the problem with a bib is if you.
I'm sorry, that would be great to go to a restaurant with those things, and then you just the drink you just say refill the cups on,
and they come in and pour beer into it. Yeah. I mean,
Can you just put it in there?
They wouldn't have to do it, actually. But the problem with a bib is if you with a bib, one would be far too cavalier with your eating because you'd think think there's no consequences.
I think I'm the Hurt Locker.
It would be unhinged. The majority of the meal would go onto the bib. But
maybe if I had a Hurt Locker outfit to eat,
yeah. There's something dignified about a clean bib,
a quiet dignity.
Definitely a quiet one, although it's quite loud.
Yeah,
because you're turning heads in a restaurant.
Yeah,
but at the same time, a dirty bib, you look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
if you're eating a posh place and you've got tomato sauce all down, even if it's on a bib,
it's true.
Then you look like a dickhead. So really, the best way to do it is to have a bib but not spill anything on it, which makes the bib redundant. So maybe we shouldn't have bibs. No, you should just learn to put food into your mouth.
It's the compromise is you have a bib, but once you get food on it, you go, garçon,
new
bib.
Sure.
Or you flip the bib, because then it might.
No, then it would get on the shirt.
Yeah.
And then we're about to
Tomato is the real fucking. It's hard to be classy.
They're juicy boys.
Yeah, it's hard to be classy. What's the classiest food to eat? Do you reckon?
The classiest food to eat?
Yeah. Well, you're at a restaurant. What's the most elegant full-on meal to eat?
An elegant full-on meal. It's
when you'd respect someone the most, seeing them eat it.
Oh God, it's
because it can't be spaghetti.
But like a classic meal. Because
with tomato, you also have the lip thing.
No, you do. This isn't something. I've actually been I'm a big napkin boy. I get through them.
You go like this?
I hate when my hands are sticky from
mucky
anything.
Mucky
paws.
Yeah.
So if I'm eating with my hands, I'm using too many napkins.
Yeah, arguably.
And my napkin is always the messiest after any meal, and you can take that to the fucking bank.
And how do you feel about that?
And I feel good because it means.
Do you ever call it a serviette?
Used to.
But it's a horrible word, is it?
It's a horrible word.
It's an awful word,
yeah.
serviette.
I'm going to have to put up with that when I go home.
That's what my mum told me from a young age.
Me too, because we're from Sussex, and it's like a kind of posher thing to have a serviette instead of a napkin.
Do you think it was a class thing?
Yeah, definitely. Serviette is 100% a class thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shows. And now that's going back in my face. I sort of wish my mum hadn't taught me all these things. Do you know what I mean?
Hadn't taught you what a serviette is?
Well, just how to pronounce certain words. She like drilled me on so much. Well, just the way... She if she ever thought I was... Like my voice was straying into Cockney. She was actually pretty aggressive on it.
Really?
That's why I sound like such a portly prince. That's why you're probably the poshest sounding of your whole family. I don't understand a word they're saying.
They do just sound like pigs shouting at each other though. It's mostly oinks.
I have to look at you like a scared. I don't know.
And then we're just talking about what we're going to eat for dinner. And
you're the poshest voice in your family.
No, Mum does.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I drop my T's.
No, you drop your T's as a sort of pop and step.
A pop and step.
Do you know what I mean? That's not
often pop.
No,
and
you
step.
have a miss. People would misconstrue you as posher than you are.
I don't think that's true.
I think you've actually got a very posh voice.
I know I've got a posh voice.
Comments below.
Well, I'm agreeing.
Comments below.
This is just becoming a witch hunt now. No, I'm agreeing. I'm definitely not posher than Mum. You're wrong with that.
I haven't seen Sally for a while.
Exactly, and she knows it.
But I'll give her a piece of my mind. I'm going to give her a piece of my mind when I see her.
What, that she's got a shit voice?
Yeah. Well, it's not. There was no value judgment there.
There was.
Whoa.
There was an absolute value judgment.
There was no value judgment there at all.
Complete value judgment.
No. The point I was actually
she's
trying
Mrs.
to make...
Elocution. She's Mrs. Table Manners and Mrs. Elocution. She's got like one of those posh laughs as well. Yeah. I think you haven't seen my family for a while.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, the point I was trying to make is that...
Poorly.
Well, the point I was very aptly making was...
It was apt. I have to give apt. God, you always get me with an apt.
Well, there's a lot of posh people in comedy who sort of go under the radar because their accents have sort of... They basically just hide. They walk among us.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't walk among us because of how drilled my mother was on that. And if she'd allowed me to get away with it, I think I would have maybe got some more work.
Do you have a posher accent than me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just a bit.
But you have it's close. It's close.
I know it's close. I know it's not far. There's a few things that I've got a Sussex twang occasionally, which is still not posh, is it? It's Sussex.
Yeah. I've got a much bigger IQ.
That's the thing, because you've got a much more extensive vocabulary and know how to use it. So That's where the poshness comes in.
I got 200 plus IQ.
That's it. And I'm struggling to get in the hundreds. So I'm mostly just, looking around in the mud for anything to think about or say.
I love on the TikToks when it's 200 IQ plus free kick. And it'll be like a fake free kick that goes in. So like one person will fake shoot it. 200 plus IQ. That's above Einstein's IQ.
I'm getting pretty fed up with TikTok.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you falling off the wagon?
I'm falling too far into the wagon. I'm watching it way too much. We've gone to the place in TikTok. They're evil geniuses. These the pages.
The Chinese.
The Chinese. They're obviously pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But we're now at the place in TikTok where it's not the people that run those kind of pages, the nameless people that run like meme pages, basically, who just like post celebrity interviews. It's no longer that they just post a celebrity interview. They'll do a split screen, and on the other screen, there's like a satisfying task being completed,
and it works.
Or a game. And it's like you have two things to look at.
It works.
And like, how fucked is that for our brains and our attention spans?
Yeah.
If we can't even watch a highlight from an interview, we now have to have a highlight from an interview for a famous person and someone cutting some cheese. It's a fucking disaster.
It is a disaster.
How are we going to expect to be able to like read a book or watch a long film?
Andrew Tate's pretty much taken over the world via these sort of videos.
Via a split screen with cheese cutting.
Or there's that car game. The car game.
It's a GTA
like
game.
Thing where they're in the air for some reason.
But it's satisfying.
Because I've played GTA. I don't remember the bit where you're in.
There's a different
It's like an arcade.
Yeah, there's a whole other GTA world that you wouldn't. Remember the GTA role-playing thing? There's a whole other world out there.
Which you deep down you want to get involved in.
Yes.
You actually, part of you, I know that you've seen the GTA role playing and you're thinking, I could have done with a bit of that.
I could have done with a bit of that, yeah.
Back in my gaming days, I could have done with a little bit of that growing up.
I'm not confident. I never liked the idea, nor do I think I'd be confident enough in gaming to get on the mic online.
But that's what would really bring out.
You have to, otherwise you can't communicate with the other police officers and or criminals.
No, he doesn't. The police officer, that's a way of approaching the world, the police officer.
No, it's basically you're a cop or you're a robber.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much. You're a criminal or police. I mean, GTA
because I do think
what else could you do? You could be an assassin, but it's still a criminal.
It's a shame that it's so fucking lame. But the ultimate game experience I think you can have are those open world multiplayer online games.
I agree.
Because it is the funniest thing. It is a shame that World of Warcraft and RuneScape are exclusively for losers.
It's not. It's not a shame. Because for me,
it's a crying shame.
It's not a shame. I never really got into it.
No, but I'm saying,
and I think
but
you got into it because you are a loser, which is why you. It's a shame. You think it's a shame because you think it's shown as losers, but you're actually
no. I think the concept of the game. Is
going around buying magic fairies for tokens and
forget the trimmings of a fantasy landscape. The concept
you can't forget
the trimmings, forget the night elves and the dragons. All right,
but you really don't want to forget that. That's why you're there.
Walking around a world where it's populated by other people all over the world, and you're just going about your day-to-day business as if it's real life. That's the top experience in gaming you can really have.
I think so. But that's part of my argument about gaming, is why I like these long, consistent stories where you can really dive into it. That's why I like play it like. But
that's like single player story mode sort of stuff.
Yeah, but open world is the perfect expression of that because there's more realism, and it's not easy.
And it's also like, I think you like the angles that I really like is it's just, and what there's an element of that with things like RuneScape and stuff like that is that you would have.
Did we play RuneScape together at one point? I feel like you might have got me into it for like a week.
Yeah, but
I remember playing.
There was a very brief period where it's like Facebook chat now after school, where you'd just be talking. Well, MSN,
where you'd go and cloak up and get.
Well, you'd just be talking to your friends.
At the blacksmiths.
Yeah, and then you'd be having I'd have conversations about school with a friend or like the day or whatever, and would be dressed to the nines at a tavern. 11 maybe.
Yeah, because most 10? Of us were just using like MSN and not being.
No, I had MSN as well. Don't you? That was to speak to
you
cheekers.
Prefer
though.
To do it at the.
That was sending the things you'd send to girls you fancy almost. There's like the
stickers.
Things. That was another. Don't worry. Like, I knew that I wasn't picking up chicks in RuneScape.
I'm not worrying, but
I wasn't waiting for the cheekers to come to RuneScape. I went to them. Okay.
Sure, because I think it would have been
a long wait at the tavern.
A waste of time. A long wait at the tavern. But that was the same with, I mean, we've already talked about Club Penguin, but that had
Club
charm.
Penguin. Is there something?
Did you ever take a girl penguin back to your igloo? Because I did. It was one of my first sexual experiences. If not the first. And then you just like dance. Or you couldn't, I can't remember. Was there like a weird thing that you could do?
I had a sexual experience in RuneScape for sure.
God, that's lamer for some reason. That's too real.
Yeah.
I like that it's penguin. There's something innocent about 11-year-old having their first sexual experience but when with a penguin. Yeah. Not an actual penguin. Penguin to penguin. I know, you want to come back to my igloo.
And playing Club Penguin as well.
Yeah. That's just love penguins. What happened in your RuneScape one?
I think, well, it's because everyone's like 10-year-olds. It's sort of like a
right, not everyone. Was this last week?
The problem is that it's actually hard to distinguish how old people were. Because here's me thinking it's like a playground. It's like you're all 10-year-olds when there's some 45-year-old geezers there. Sure, there are.
Is. Do you think your sexual experiences with a 45-year-old geezer?
I have no way of knowing. Is the key.
What
thing.
happened? Tell us.
I think I started. I think I went around looking for a girlfriend because a friend of mine had got a girlfriend.
A RuneScape girlfriend. So let's just be clear.
Yeah, and I kept getting rejected.
Why? What would your opener be?
I think I'd walk around that there was like a stock exchange, which is where you just sort of trade things, and that's where there was the most people.
So you're trying to buy a girlfriend?
No. It was just where the most cheekies were at. That's where all the hot babes were at.
The stock exchange.
That's where you find all the hot babes.
That's where you found BB, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the stock. And so then you'd go around, and then you'd sort of. I think it would be like, you want to be my GF or something like that. There wasn't much disguising it.
It is a classic, yeah. Whereas Club Penguin was a lot more slutty. I remember there wasn't so much repeat business.
It was a bit hornier
going on. It was very much like, do you want to come back to my igloo? It wasn't, do you want to be my girlfriend? Because I think RuneScape is a lamer than Club Penguin is.
Do you think it shaped our sexualities?
Yeah, I think in some way it did. I mean, I always have to, the temperature has to be below freezing for me to come. But I think, yeah, because it wasn't, Club Penguin was like a gangbang, whereas RuneScape.
Stop trying to sell. You're trying to sell Club Penguin as this.
No, it was
this
more
is where
chaotic.
All the fucking cool fucking dudes.
No, it was chaotic.
Club Penguin.
RuneScape was like, you've got your character. There's only so much distance you can go with your Club Penguin character. There isn't, well, you don't like go back and meet the same penguins every day. You kind of go on and you meet new penguins because remember, there's loads of different servers. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
So like,
same with
there was
RuneScape.
Having a penguin girlfriend was not really manageable.
Penguin galley.
A penguin gal, because you'd have to. To get on the same server at the same time, you'd have to make contact outside the Club Penguin world, which was a big no.
That was a no-no. So it was a real fleeting. You know, these are like, I'm only in town for one day.
It was a come and run situation.
It was like, I'm only in town for one more night, baby.
Who knows how long this server will last? It's going to crash soon.
Save tonight, tomorrow I'll be
Come back
gone.
to my igloo, let's do those dancey things. Which I guess was a simulation for some sort of sex.
I'll tell you what, there's no more embarrassing way of being rejected by a girl than
on RuneScape.
Then her rejecting on RuneScape and then teleporting to Lumbridge.
That's tough.
That is tough.
That's really tough.
Have you seen someone teleport to Lumbridge? Do you know how that works?
You've told me before, but no.
Teleporting to Lumbridge is something that everyone, if shit hits the fan anywhere, you draw a circle around you, then sit in a meditative experience, like pose.
Yeah, that's
and
tough.
then you go back to where you start the game.
That's real tough.
So if you're like, asking, you want to be my GF?
And then you just watch her get
and then she goes, and then she goes like that. That's, I'm telling you, lad,
it's quite
that puts you up for some rejection.
Yeah. It's quite a drawn out process as well. It's not like she just immediately disappears. It's like you're just standing there watching her draw a circle around her and then just.
And I'm
disappear.
doing emotes because you could do dance and stuff. I'm just trying to
want to be my GF.
Yeah.
Was there any criteria? Was it just any woman that you'd find? Was it like a song
I did try and look for
levels.
I was trying to look. No. I didn't really care for levels. It was more aesthetic based.
Right.
It was whoever I thought was a hot galley.
Did you end up getting one or not?
Yeah, I did get one.
What was
but she was a bit.
Her name?
I don't want to say it. I mean, this sounds bad, but she was a little bit
frigid.
You know, she didn't put out enough.
What were the actions? Because in Club Penguin, you have coming back to the igloo and dancing. What do you have on RuneScape that might simulate?
Well,
a
she came
act?
back to my house.
Your homestead.
My homestead, and I would sort of put like over the text. I put like asterisks for like
sex.
Sort. I didn't really know what that was fully.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just sort of like.
Yeah.
And then she would kind of.
So what do you mean? You're gonna have to give me a message.
I genuinely don't remember.
Wanna XXXX?
I genuinely.
Can I see your boobies?
No, it wasn't. Can I see your boobies? It wasn't that sort of thing.
I'm sure there wasn't an option for that.
And they also
Quick
star
action.
out lots of stuff. But then I remember her.
Say no.
She just really just didn't put out, even though she was my GF. And that
It's
never
a big
really
problem in the RuneScape community. It's staggering.
Yeah, because you seem to get all these fucking.
I
these
told you,
slutty
Club
galleys.
Penguin. Club Penguin, bring them back.
Penguin.
Take them to the
And
England.
all
Bit of
these
chat,
fucking-
dancing.
These frigid maidens on RuneScape
Yeah,
not putting out.
Exactly. You were on the wrong online multiplayer game.
Yeah.
What did you have for lunch?
I had a pie for lunch.
Did you?
Yeah,
That seems excessive.
What
kind
I
of
had
pie?
a pucker pie
It's
for
your
lunch.
second pie of the week.
It is my second pie of the week.
You had a pie as a side the other
I had
day.
a pie as a side. I've been a real hungry hippo. I'm not
You
going to
did
be real with
one
you guys.
commute and you decided to remedy that
mate.
with having a
Yeah.
pie as a side.
No, it's true. I had to leave this house for work for the first time in months, where I had to basically go into central London and then leave central London at rush hour via Oxford Street Circus,
nice.
which is something that I actually used to do when I briefly worked 3 days of work at the office. I would have to do that every day.
Yeah.
And I forgot just how excruciating that experience is commuting in London.
Yeah.
And it's cold, and then it's really hot on the tube, and everyone's crammed in the fluorescent light. Everyone's just miserable. And then I came back, and I think I'd been yearning after some sort of hearty stew, but I was too depressed. I was too depressed to make one from scratch.
Sorry.
That's quite humiliating, isn't it?
was a
Having to ask for your.
Sorry, can you pass the head of my vape, please? The magnets have gone.
Yeah, you wanted a stew.
Yeah, so I got
A beef bourguignon.
beef bourguignon with the dumplings, which was actually really good. I was
Yeah, I know,
surprised.
because every single time Horatio has anything that's moderately good, he in his head he thinks it's the best thing in the world and everyone needs to try it.
Everyone needs to have a go.
It ranges. We've already discussed his peanut butter curry. Is it peanut butter? Or
No,
just,
not peanut butter. Sri Lankan chicken curry.
Just a Sri Lankan curry. Everyone has to do it, and everyone has to use the recipe.
Yeah, you got it.
The new not Heineken.
Corona cans.
They weren't Corona either.
They were.
but it
Oh no,
doesn't-
Peroni cans.
The new Peroni cans. Everyone had to try them.
No, I didn't have to try them. They were good for the price.
And then
that's just cost of living
and then a
tips.
co-op ready meal beef bourguignon with dumplings. You have to try this, mate. It's unbelievable.
And then it was pretty slutty because I felt like I'd got it. It just didn't feel like it was going to be big enough. Because the problem with a lot of them is that they're often not big enough. So I was like, I just want more of this. So instead, I got a pucker pie, a steak pucker pie. And I tell you what, it was incredible. It was like £2 for a pie. And it's like, and then when I was doing my
Do you think
online
it set
shop,
you off on a bad routine?
Potentially.
You've just had a pie for lunch. You're out of control.
well, I think this because of the winter, the cost of living winter. I do retreat back into a sort of Brexit mentality, a siege mentality when it comes to food.
Pie and peas.
Pie and peas, beans, sausages, biscuits, tea and
Yes,
biscuits.
I've seen a lot of bourbons.
Yeah,
around.
I've been crushing Borbs, and it's become a. I've now had the
Kind of leave a trail of crumbs.
Yeah, I have to. I've had a talk with myself now, and
You've eaten enough bourbons.
Why this seems to happen
How
every.
fat are you at the moment?
I'm the fattest I've ever.
Are you still?
No, I'm not the fattest I've ever been. That's not true. Even though BB did grab my I got out of the shower and I was putting my socks on.
A very sexy moment in time.
Until I was like topless.
Whoa. Socks on first.
Yeah.
That's mental.
No, pants on.
Pants already on.
Yeah.
Then socks?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, I was leaning. I don't know.
Strange.
I think I was just sat at the end of my bed after the shower in that sort of.
Depressed. I imagine you get really depressed after a shower, actually.
I more just lose focus.
Yeah, because the steam
There's
is...
definitely like a post nut melancholy
Yeah.
post shower.
Yeah.
When I sit on the end of my bed and BB.
You're fucking
And
ridiculous.
then BB started grabbing
Right.
because I was leaning over and started making a.
She made that.
started making
Oh wait, she did a.
And it's like,
Wow.
it's a good bit, and I'm not going to go against it. And to be honest, I quite like I like comments on my weight.
You deserve it.
I deserve it because I also I think it keeps me humble.
You throw to her.
I do, and I fat shame people so regularly. I feel it gives me more. It'd be nice to have the lived experience of what it's like to be fat shamed.
Do you think it's going to make it more prevalent, or are you going to?
To be honest, I think it's probably good that she goes whenever she sees them love handles start growing. It probably will stave them off. I think I'm sort of built for that sort of because I think there's two types of man. You know, your girlfriend goes with your love handles,
and you get fatter.
You get fatter out of depression
because you eat.
Because you eat sad, stress eating, boredom eating.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of puts me in a mindset of like enough's enough. But I've just not been in the mood. I think
you need a slap round the face.
I do need a slap round the face.
We need to do these daily squash games
every single day.
Every single day.
Every single day. I think it's morning and night.
Twice a day. Crikey.
First thing before bed. First thing in the morning, last thing before bed.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to wake up and go to sleep to squash?
So it's almost like the break is you're taking like an 8-hour break.
Yeah.
Sleeping.
Well, I find out because neither of us are morning people. Yeah. So I do love the idea of us waking up at like 6 a.m. and then playing squash because it's a very aggressive game and we'd hate each other at that moment.
So competitive, unreal.
Squat because that's the only thing.
It's close.
That it was close in.
Yeah.
But squat, you've got this fucking scoop. I remember you're like
the scoop, which
is
just cheating,
practicing wrists, just moving along.
Well, when I played squash with my
we don't talk about that
sister's boyfriend, which I know upset you very much.
It's very fucking rude. I've been trying to make you play squash for ages.
Trademark serve that I remember from muscle memory is still very effective, which is when you sort of chip it. Well, not chip it, but you just very slowly do it. Yeah. But you make it so it basically bounces in the corner. So it's all about that looping over.
Yeah,
So it means that they're like...
you got to scoop it out.
Well, you're just like... It's just annoying. Yeah. And it's like a little...
Did you enjoy it?
I did love it, but I was surprised that I just remembered that thing that just went straight...
I will be there. It just comes back out. I'm fucking ready. I haven't played squash in maybe 6 years. 7 probably. I'm ready to hit that.
Yeah, it all comes back very quick. It's one of those sports. It's definitely...
It is. But pie for lunch.
Pie for lunch.
How big was the pie?
It's a puka pie, so it's like that.
So not big.
Not
big.
Did
you have it with anything else?
No, it actually.
Just as how you've eaten today.
Bowl of cereal. Bowl of cereal. And to be honest, I had a good month before it got really chilly. I was getting actually pretty good with what I've realised is the best way. There's a lot of faff around eating healthy, and I do feel. Or like when you're trying to stave the pounds off.
Sure.
But I do think the best attempt is to try and not eat.
It's interesting you say that.
No, I think that it doesn't get talked about enough when I basically was in quite a good little routine was when I just basically skipping breakfast.
Yeah. It's a blessing I have that I'm never hungry.
No, yeah.
Breakfast.
And I become such
fast.
Yeah, you do.
Often I have 17 hours without eating.
No, and that's the way to play it.
I know.
That is the way to do.
Accidentally, I've got what everyone says.
And I think that's what is when I'm at my leanest, when I'm will be just me skipping meals or just eating.
You are a big breakfast boy, though. You're a big chunky breakfast boy. I'm a hungry hippo
at the moment.
You're a hungry fat breakfast boy.
Well, it's because I wake up late and
you're
it's
a chubby little breakfast freak.
Yeah. No,
you want to spoon milk and Cheerios into your gullet and let it get warm.
I also feel like I'm fatter than I am because I think
you're obviously not fat.
No, I'm not fat, but
or even pudgy. You're no way near it.
Because I keep bringing it up with other on podcasts and stuff, and everyone keeps saying how skinny I am because they obviously don't know. They
don't see you when you've just got out of the shower only wearing socks.
Well, they haven't seen what my bunda used to be like.
Sure.
And, so they're just looking at that's just a normal batty, and it's like if you saw what my
not many people would notice
what the growth of my bunda.
Yeah, or just the size of it.
No, exactly.
If anyone if there's one person in the world who would know more intimately the differences and growth of your bunda, it would be me.
Yeah.
And I actually don't. You had to point it out. Like,
no, but you've
on
had
the
a
podcast,
feel.
I had to feel.
And it just,
but it's not noticeable.
No, it's not noticeable.
No one really looks. No one. I think you think that people look for how fat someone is by looking at their bum.
No. It's like, and I don't think anyone's. It's not like. And I actually want to fill out a bit. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
I think it's more the mindset that I do feel like a portly little prince. And it definitely goes.
So is that fat? Because you described me as a portly little prince wearing lilacs.
Well,
so I need to know
that it is fat. It's just like I think it's a mindset of
like a German kind of cheese.
Yeah, and I think it's more like
a chocolate boy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like when there's sort of a sinfulness to how I've been eating. I still don't put on the pounds. I still am relatively. My metabolism's still good. I'm still like relatively active, and I'm not crazy. Because when you meet someone who's really fat and you're thinking, oh, they've got a bad metabolism, and then you realise how much they actually eat.
Yeah.
Because you're always like, oh, I feel I eat like shit.
Never.
I think it's just metabolism. And then you'll eat a meal with them and you're like, oh, we guess we kind of eat the same. And then you'll find out
that's
that
like
they're,
1 of 6.
Yeah, they're real like,
it's true.
Oh, when you meet a real fat person, they nearly always are eating a fucking shite load.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not in that camp.
Because there must be a difference. There obviously is, but a difference in appetite in general.
Yeah.
Because there is, so it works when you get hungry.
Yeah.
It's like it releases this hormone that makes you hungry. And the thing is why it's good to eat slow is because when you're eating, it takes a while for the hormone to catch up. So that's why, if you eat slowly, it gives your hormones a chance to catch up, and then it will say you're full when you're actually full.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the time we eat too quickly.
Yeah.
And then your body has been full a while ago, but you'll still feel hungry because it hasn't caught up.
Yeah.
But so it always astonishes me people that do just are hungry like loads. Do you know, like that kind of level of hungry? And maybe it's not, because it's the big boned argument. It could be just like, I'm just really hungry all the time argument. Which might be valid.
I think it's an addiction to that drug, the release, and loving that drug more than other people.
Well, Richard Osman talks about food addiction, yeah.
And he's not even as chunky.
I think we naturally all are a little bit, but I guess there's different expressions. Because there's something I like, every time I wake up in the morning, I think about, what's the food plan today? And get a bit excited about it.
Yeah.
I love a lunch, mate.
You do love a lunch.
I fucking love a lunch.
Because you haven't eaten breakfast, so it's just the fucking first thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first meal of the day. Give me that cheese and mustard is what I say.
So I watched this mini doc. I don't know why. Maybe it was coming up because of all the fat stuff we watched in research for the TV sketches.
Sure.
We watched a
Fat Families.
Yeah, and all those docs.
Yeah.
I think something came up. This American mini doc about this is just incredible. Maybe it was like the fattest guy in Kansas. I don't know. He was the fattest guy somewhere. Just a real fucking porker. Real like. So he lived in a basement of, I think, his family's home, and he basically, it's this huge procedure getting him out of bed.
Right.
For him, so he has to go up the stairs, and that's the only exercise he does all day is walking up the stairs, and that's like the hardest part of his day. And it's this sort of like,
it's not far off the exercise I do.
It's this sort of like Titan, Herculean, was it? Herculean effort. Him getting up these stairs.
He doesn't have like straps or like
no, but it's
system.
like, and it's like he's sweating. It's so painful to get up, and then he's in so much pain.
Yeah,
because I think waking up, especially when you're like so fat,
right?
And then the best part of his day, and this is something that stuck with me on this sort of topic of food addiction. The way that he basically orders, as soon as he gets up there, he orders on his phone the biggest breakfast you've ever seen in your life.
Wait, like, so he sleeps downstairs.
Yeah.
And where does he go in the day?
Upstairs to
the
beginning of the day is on the sofa.
Yeah. What are you picturing?
No, sorry. I don't know why the sofa made me. I was completely fine until you said what, like on a sofa or something. I don't know why that got me. And then he gets the biggest breakfast you've ever seen. Waffles, pancakes, fried chicken, steak. Like, unbelievable.
Not breakfast food.
Yeah, it's the first thing he eats. It's ridiculous.
Hate waffles for breakfast.
I like waffles.
I know you do. You're a weird American.
Ridiculous pile of food. And then he's like, gets so excited that he's getting like
sweaty,
jittery and nervous. And the way that he talked about that being the best moment of his day, and he talks about how much pain and how,
because I guess he hasn't eaten for the whole time he slept. So
and he's got just this addiction. He's just completely addicted to. And he's like, he just talks about how miserable his life is. But he says for those, he gets so excited when the guy comes to the door, and just like the way he talks about
someone
the process.
Someone answers the door for him.
No, he can
Does he have to go back down the stairs?
No, he doesn't. No, that's only he does that twice a day.
Right, so he's in the basement. Yeah.
And just the way that he talked about the process and the excitement of ordering the food, waiting for it to arrive, and then just seeing him with the big handful of pancake, dipping it in the sauce.
Because what I've noticed,
he enjoyed it. That's what was, because I always think, do they just like, is it like self-harm almost?
But
he seemed to like, for that 15 minutes, it's the happiest part of his day. Then the rest of it is him in pain because he's digesting.
He's eating so much. But that's what I've found more and more with deliveries. I think I've turned a corner with my food habits as well. We all know I'm a big fan of Domino's. I'm not so much anymore because of how fucked it makes me the next day.
Yeah.
I tend to avoid Domino's and KFC now because it's like,
your chase of short-term pleasures has gone down.
Slowly dying.
Yeah.
But I used not to feel as bad as I do with Domino's. Now it just ruins my week.
Yeah, it's a week ruiner.
It really is.
Because it's a mindset.
I went recently for the first time in months and I got a medium and I still just felt dreadful from it.
Yeah.
I guess it's all that dip.
It's just the dip. That's the silent killer.
I find that whenever, like, every takeaway, and this is back to the whole expectations thing, the majority of the fun in the takeaway is the thinking about what you want, getting it, and like waiting for it to arrive. It's always a bit of a letdown.
Always.
It's always a letdown. I mean, it's not always. It's still good.
Well,
I think part of it's the joy of not having to cook.
I've seen this on TikTok where there's a post. There's like a post Uber Eats clarity. Sometimes you nail it. I
nailed it on Tuesday. I got a Nando's.
Oh, how was that?
Great.
Did it deliver well?
Yeah, it was down the road.
What did you get?
I got a half chicken actually.
Half chicken's tough.
Because I was a hungry boy. Yeah. I was a hungry boy.
Hungry hippo.
Half chicken, peri-peri chips, and corn on the cob.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. Okay, so that travelled well.
It's literally up there.
There's some.
It's basically like coming to your table from.
I find Sunday nights takeaways are good, but basically
the good curry is always good.
I think there is. I saw this term which is like post Uber Eats clarity, and it's like
it's kind of what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
It's like post nut clarity when it's
and post shower clarity.
And I even saw this very funny Irish guy on TikTok who discusses in details like the best biscuits to eat with tea. He talked about the worst feelings in the world, and one of them being the undeserved takeaway. It's basically when you should earn a takeaway in many ways. And sometimes, we're all human. We get a takeaway that we haven't earned, that we didn't need, that we could easily have cooked if we wanted to. Not easily, but there was that you could have done something different. And then you have the guilt beforehand and the guilt afterwards. Yeah. And those two, that's some real bleak feelings.
Yeah.
And then you get the notification of how much it cost.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the final, because they wait after a bit for the price, and that's when it really kicks you when you're down. It's when you're like, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
That there was something, it wasn't perfect.
And it's never worth the feeling.
Yeah, because it shouldn't be. Yeah.
I'm gonna be on my second takeaway of the week tonight.
Yeah.
Which is,
But we're heading into Christmas. It feels like
heading into Christmas. I've also got £20 to expense.
It's hungry hippo season.
It's not on me.
No,
it's on my work.
It's on corporate.
It's on the corporate money thing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to town a bit tonight as well.
What are you gonna get?
It's an excellent question.
But you got a takeaway Sunday, didn't you?
Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday.
It's
a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. I mean,
you're a champion.
I am a champion. I mean,
That's 3 out of 5.
Sunday you have to.
Your numbers don't lie.
Sunday you have to.
You do have to.
Sunday you have to. It's just part of the fun.
I feel Sunday in my head. I'm like, so the main reason Sunday. If I had a nice kitchen, then I think the whole day could be taken up cooking something amazing.
It's true.
But that experience.
I did that on Friday. Actually, I had a quiet Friday night where I made a big chicken soup thing.
Yeah,
which was great.
Did it?
It backed.
How did it feel cooking in that kitchen though?
I wasn't here. I was at Elle's.
That's different.
Yeah, slightly nicer pans.
Yeah,
but that was good. But I think, I'm having one tomorrow. But then because I went out for dinner last night, so I was like, part of me was like, I'm not going to cook on Monday because when you're cooking for one as well, it's like I'll cook for 3 meals. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that, but if you leave it in the fridge too long, it gets shit. So I was like, I'm just gonna have a takeaway tonight. I'm gonna have one because I'm gonna have one this evening because I've got £20 to expend.
I think it isn't. I think everyone is a feeling that. I think a lot of people are piling on a lot of these sort of things because there's a feeling in January you'll sort it all out.
Yeah.
And I think there's just been. I think the problem with the way the Christmas is. This whole period of the year is structured a little bit.
Excess and consumerism.
Well, it's almost like there's a feeling of the end of the year for too long, where I haven't felt like I can necessarily
let's
start
give up
anything
for the last few weeks because the new year's about to start.
Month almost.
Because every time we've been talking about doing something, it's like we'll do that in the new year.
New year,
it's like
and it's this daunting thing, and that should be like it's good to have 2 weeks like that, but I think it's pushed into almost a month of like.
Yeah, I've noticed productivity in general is.
Who gives a fuck?
It's flatline.
Yeah, it's just like we're all, And even when I'm getting my weekly shop, I'm like, I'm not gonna leave when I don't know when I'm going back home, so it's hard to get in stuff. Shit's gonna go off because I'll be away.
Our fridge is a mess at the moment with uncooked food. Well, I shouldn't say that actually.
No,
cancelled again. So much salmon in there.
There is so much salmon, and
because we're all salmon.
I think I might. Yeah, I feel so guilty about the salmon. I might not go to BB's tonight, so I can come back and cook it out of responsibility.
Come back and cook it from where?
From a gig.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Out of responsibility, you'll come back.
Out of respect.
You won't see your girlfriend because you've got a salmon.
I've got a salmon in the fridge. If she wants to come and eat
you
the
try
salmon,
to cancel us for food waste.
if she wants to come eat the salmon with me, she's more than welcome. There's 2 pieces.
So there are 2 pieces in there.
So yeah, even though we got very carried away talking about pie, I mean that was so long.
That was a long time.
Because we normally like to open the show with just sort of like a light smattering.
Sometimes we just get
like 10 minutes, but that was literally about 45 minutes. We haven't talked
all
about
the good stuff. We
haven't talked about anything topical.
No.
Fucking.
So we got Uber Eats pie and RuneScape. So all the good stuff will be on Patreon,
which you may join. Which people have been getting a bit ratty at me because I keep releasing them late.
You do release them late.
I do release them late, but
and
still,
I think it's fair to get ratty. Actually,
do you think?
Yeah, it just keeps us honest.
Yeah, it does. It's nice to see
because it's annoying because people look forward to it.
Yeah,
so it's quite a nice thing to get it on time.
But then I guess the podcasts that I follow, their times are always changing.
Well, that's rare. I mean, like most Patreons will do it consistently.
All right. Anyway, World Cup final. We watched the World Cup final.
We did.
On Sunday. The biggest game ever.
Yeah.
It lived up to the hype because I mean I saw an article arguing that this could be the biggest football game ever just for the setup of it.
Yeah.
There's a good argument to say it is.
Yeah.
And it was set up for disappointment. It felt. To me, I was like, there's so much hype here.
Yeah.
Nearly every really hype sporting event has been disappointing. Think of like the Pacquiao fight and things like that. Do you know those really hyped ones? A lot of them. Most Champions League finals have been like that. All the last World Cup finals.
It does come from nowhere, the big sporting events, right?
Yeah, the semi-finals nearly always. So I was just kind of ready for...
Yeah. Oh, for God's sake.
But then it was just incredible.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Best World Cup final ever.
And it's also the reach that it's not even more than the Champions League. It's just on TikTok, everyone watching it.
Yeah, Americans are slowly getting into it.
And just everyone is into it.
But yeah. Because I really don't want them to get good at football. And they will. Give it 20, 30 years, they'll be really good. And it's going to be really annoying.
I can't really be asked to discuss the football because it's never funny when we do or interesting.
It's true.
And everyone's all over Twitter.
So let's talk about Salt Bae.
So let's talk about the stuff that you're here to listen to. Something we can actually give expertise on.
We'll start with Salt Bae.
Yeah.
Right. You explain what happened with Salt Bae.
So this was quite an upsetting thing because I felt like at the end of the World Cup, it was the closest to a sort of religious experience in the modern world I've felt, where like Messi's the closest to having the reverence of a genuine God, someone who actually, because we don't respect politicians, you know.
Yeah.
And I think
no one's. He's very squeaky clean.
But I think his autism you can read as.
Is he actually autistic?
Yeah.
Is this your diagnosis?
No, he is actually autistic.
It defined.
Yeah.
Which is but he's very sweet.
But that autism comes out as ethereal. Like he's floating above the earth.
It's true.
But it's actually he has no clue what's going on, the poor lad.
He doesn't, does he? He's very sweet boy.
But he has a feeling of like he's a
confusion.
A star who's fallen from heaven is what I was going to say. It looks
like he's just been startled by a fire alarm a lot of the time.
And so the way that the final went, the fact that it was his last World Cup, the fact that he won it, it was the feeling of the perfect final chapter of a legend, and just you did feel.
That there was something missing.
There was like a sacred no.
And that thing.
But I'm just saying that the
event
the event had a sacredness that we don't have in regular life ever.
Yeah.
Because there's no religion anymore for
Yeah.
So and it's the closest I just genuinely felt to the feeling of like
awe,
just genuine awe.
It was almost a royal experience.
Yeah.
The crowning of a king.
Yeah. And it was just almost ridiculous
with
how
all the
perfect
shit that's happening with the royals as well. It was like, this is our new king.
Because royals, they try and create that feeling, but there's so much negativity around it, and it's obviously so symbolic.
Debate. And there's politics.
And Messi isn't symbolic. He's become symbolic.
Yeah.
But it's because of how fucking good at football he is.
There's politics in sport, but at the end of the day, the sport like shouts the loudest.
Yes.
For games like that.
And so having that feeling, then when you see Salt Bae,
sure, it only accentuates that feeling.
So there was the mad throng post the game where everyone's on the pitch. Incredible moments of Messi with his family.
Yeah.
This is a big moment for Argentina for the world. Everyone was behind Messi pretty much, apart from even some French supporters. Said they were supporting Messi. So when you see the slipperiest cunt in the world, Salt Bae, getting the photos.
I presume he's Argentinian.
No, that's what I thought. So I quickly checked. I was like, okay, at least he's Argentinian. He's Turkish.
No. That's a disaster.
It's an absolute disaster. I don't know. And it's
because he was quite aggressive with him.
Did you see him
was
tugging?
Like and Messi was like, enough.
And Messi seems to do a lot. Like
he doesn't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It just was such a.
How did he get on?
It was such a gross thing, that tugging, turning this genuinely historic moment and just saying like, how can I further?
In a sense, I respect him for it because we have.
So let's think about historic moments.
We haven't heard from Salt Bae for a while. Salt Bae has managed to, because most people would pretty fairly charge him at the inception of his internet fame as a one-trick pony.
What?
Putting salt on meat.
He doesn't. Okay.
He does the hand. he does the hand.
Sometimes it bounces off his elbow.
Sometimes it does bounce off his elbow. But I'm not sure you can count that as two tricks.
He chops the meat up.
Right. If you want to count that as two tricks,
he does that, and then he strips the T-bone steak.
Sure.
It's not just that's a misconception. He also chops meat as well.
I don't know what's his name.
Salt Bae.
It is Salt Bae. I'm not sure the meat has quite. I don't think Salt Bae would have gained his prolific internet persona without the way he sprinkles salt on meat. Yeah. I'm not sure people would come flocking for the chopping.
But is he undeniably the goat of salting?
It depends how flamboyantly. Absolutely. But maybe he puts a lot of salt on things. Yeah. Sometimes.
And also, it feels unhygienic.
He does it at the table
as well. Does it feel a bit unhygienic bouncing off his elbow?
It depends, because it's whether you trust Salt Bae's washing beforehand. He should wash his elbows. Yeah. But it's definitely the most flamboyant, but is it the best? You presume the meat had been seasoned before arriving at the table.
That's a debate for another time, maybe.
It really is. But Salt Bae, a one or two trick pony, depending how you divide up the processes of salting meat. His ability to
Messi can only play football.
That is true, actually. So I guess he is a one-trick pony. Yeah.
What else is Messi good at apart from football?
There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing, really.
He only does football.
He hasn't got a clue what's going on outside football. But so for Salt Bae to, gain internet prominence...
That would be such a funny thing to say, like, see all this stuff about Messi. It's like, all he can do is football.
It's just
I can do loads of shit.
I can do other stuff. But we don't know. You never know. Messi might have hobbies.
Juggling.
Juggling.
Yeah.
But Salt Bae, one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Managed to, do well on the internet. Then he got back in the public's eye when there was all the controversies about his restaurant and like the prices, the tomahawk steak and stuff. Maintaining relevance.
Yeah.
That man can salt things weirdly, and everyone around the planet knows who he is.
He's really famous.
It's an incredible PR move. Yeah. Consistently. And what I see there isn't a man ruining an historical moment. It's a man seizing his moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Messi was a bit rude to Salt Bae.
Yeah, I would love to have seen Salt Bae maybe at other historical, like the fall of the Berlin Wall. You see Salt Bae.
Trying to get a picture.
Yeah. Well, the first guy with the hammer going in.
The Yalta conference. Behind FDR and Stalin. Salting Churchill's bald head.
Those are the only two moments.
Those are the only two historical moments. Was the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Yalta conference.
Assassination of Franz Ferdinand, maybe.
Very close.
No, because
not
you'd
sure.
have to.
Well, wasn't he assassinated near a restaurant or in a cafe?
No, maybe.
I think he was in a cafe.
Could have been Salt Bae.
Could have been Salt Bae's calf. Salt Bae.
All his fathers, it's a generationals. He's been salting Bae.
Senior Salt Bae. Salt Bae Senior.
It's a long line.
They've been well. He doesn't Salt Bays.
No,
don't make that mistake.
No, he is the
don't
Salt Bae.
No, he's salting is his bangers. Jokes aside, it was abhorrent, and I really hated it.
It was awful.
Just the pulling and the kind of
the pulling was the thing, because the trashiness of posing with it is bad, and it's like realizing it's taking this sacred.
Well. That's a big no-no.
And just having that entitlement.
But that's why he's Salt Bae.
Yeah, because he's entitled himself. That's why he's the goat.
Because he salts meats flamboyantly. Why shouldn't he be on the pitch? The man salts meats flamboyantly. He deserves to be on that pitch.
Yeah, but it was the tugging of.
Obviously, I'm only joking. Yeah. It was ridiculous, and it was a shame because that was the problem.
But I mean, this sacred historical moment.
Yeah.
The most I've been removed from the sort of shitness of basically postmodernism, late capitalism, yada yada yada. And then he brought me right back in to an Adam Curtis film.
History is dead.
Yeah.
There was a guy
who killed it.
Well, Salt Bae. Salt Bae kind of did, because there was a guy called Francis Fukuyama who posited, and I don't use that word lightly, so strap yourselves in, who posited that history was dead because Western-style liberal democracy has won, basically. It's won the argument, it's won the wars, and now everyone's slowly going to conform to that. He was basically wrong, and everyone kind of laughed at him in a way.
But he's most famous for being wrong, because he's like, everyone knows about him because people,
But what I now posit is the new end of history, which is that we can't just have a historical moment anymore because you have Salt Bae on the pitch.
Yeah.
And there's no sense of grandeur.
No.
There's no
nothing sacred. Nothing sacred.
Like Harry and Meghan doc, it's the same thing. History is now being played out with Salt Bae's Instagram and Netflix flashy documentaries.
Yeah.
These were things that would be, you want written about in thick journals.
Yeah.
You don't want to be strewn over Instagram and Netflix with a kind of simplistic version of things. And that's what Salt Bae has done.
I think this is
Salt Bae's ended history.
Maybe it's less the end of history. It's more the realization that history will never restart again.
I will never agree with that.
Do you know what I mean?
Salt Bae's ended history.
It's the feeling, we might have history again. Oh no, we can't.
You can't have a moment because there's 1,000 Salt Baes.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Salt Bae, it would be someone else. That's true. That's true. So in a way, maybe Salt Bae is indicative of a larger structural issue. An issue, yeah. We should try that.
Soap Bae.
Just washing your hands flamboyantly. Why not? Anyone could be a star.
But it's almost like, because when we were talking about the controversy of the overpriced meats at the restaurant, part of me viewed...
How much coverage has he got on this podcast alone?
It's true.
He's got probably an hour.
But part of me is like, you cannot complain about the price of this restaurant. If you go to those restaurants, you don't deserve to have your own credit card or money.
Sure.
Your bank account should be frozen anyway.
Yeah.
Because you are a fucking loser.
It's a TikTok trend.
You're a fucking loser. Don't go to this fucking lame as shit restaurant from a TikTok star and then be like, this is a bit expensive. Yeah, you thick cunt. Why are you there?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. No, you are right.
And is there anything more humiliating than being the celebrity sat down? So David Beckham, Mark Wahlberg, there's loads of it. There's a David Beckham one. They're all sat with their family. And also, whenever you see like a celebrity, like Mark Wahlberg, you're used to seeing him in action films. David Beckham, football superstar. But when you're sat,
thanks for the praise.
What was that? But when you're sat when celebrities are sat with their family in a restaurant, like we're sat with our families,
right now.
Yeah. But they immediately lose a lot of gravitas. And, Mark Wahlberg with his shit hat sat down, and then
there's something embarrassing.
Is
about
there anything
for
more
anything.
ick-worthy than being videoed while Salt Bae does that? And it's watching it happen, going,
and that is essentially,
and it's like a slight smile,
and that's essentially what they've paid for. They've paid for him to come out and do the salt,
and then they're like, wow.
Because it's almost like that's the entertainment.
Now,
sure, here we go.
How do you think you genuinely feel though?
Yeah.
Because here's the interesting question, and here's probably the kicker of the whole thing. Is it probably would be quite thrilling if Salt Bae salted my food.
Of course it would.
Do you know what I mean?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
That is the problem.
There's no doubt.
You're a fucking loser if you seek it out. But I would be lying if when I see Salt Bae do that, that I wouldn't be like,
oh my God. Yeah, oh my God, he salted that food. But that's why I think that's the economy and the genius of Salt Bae.
That guy's tugged Messi.
But I think that's the genius of him, because what he's realised is all the money that he can gain is in his excessive prices. But the excessive prices come because Salt Bae salts your food. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. I wonder if he can't salt everyone's food who goes to his restaurant.
No.
But the more he does and the more he stays in the limelight, the more valuable his action of salting becomes. So like that, we would all get excited to Salt Bae.
Undeniable. That is the problem.
We can't deny that.
I can't stand Salt Bae. I think he's been a negative. You
think he's been a negative influence over a positive?
I think pros and cons overall. I think maybe he's been.
Would
a negative
you have said
influence.
that without the Messi incident?
Without the Messi incident, I would have said overall a positive influence. I think he's a really good role model to young.
To young salters.
Young salters growing up. Yeah. I think he's a Turkish icon.
He just does things differently. You know, doesn't play by the rules.
But he has a scary look in the eyes. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Well, he wears those glasses.
He does, but sometimes when you see
terrifying. He's terrifying.
And you could tell a lot about someone by the
way they salt their food.
So what does this say?
You're a fucking idiot. What's wrong with you?
But you can see someone's soul in their irises, and there's a real darkness behind those eyes.
There really is.
He doesn't even feel like he doesn't even have that dumb influency look.
Have you ever seen him smile?
That's against his brand.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But the brand comes from somewhere.
What happens when he's throwing his kid up in the air?
He's like, doesn't like that. He just I don't even know that. But that was the kind of point about the kind of decimation of historical moments.
Yeah,
is the similar thing with the robe being put on.
So if you had The Real End of History by Andrew Kirwan, what would the front cover be?
Me.
You
looking serious?
No,
the book's about me.
No, because with a powerful academic journal, you normally choose like a powerful snapshot from history.
And I'm mixing up the game.
You don't just sit at the front.
It's me.
That's for the sleeve, isn't it? Author's note.
No, me. Me.
You can't say The Real End.
It's me positing.
You can't have you thinking.
It's like, no, it's positing. Like, so now they know who it's coming from.
You wouldn't have a picture of Salt Bae.
No, I would have a picture of Salt Bae.
It would be incredible. Like in that kind of like classy academic, The Real End of History.
What I'd do is I'd have Salt Bae. I'd have Salt Bae at the top, and he'd be sprinkling, and the salt would form the words "The End of History."
Oh,
it's all over.
Oh, it's done.
And that's the tagline. It's all over. It's done.
To finish this episode, do we
want to discuss the robe being put on?
We've got loads.
We maybe should.
Yeah, what can we talk about it? Yeah. Well, what do you think about the robe? Because
I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then I've seen a surprising response on social media, which includes people being surprised about the negative response.
I don't get why would people be surprised by it. It's literally covering up his Argentina shirt.
I think some people thought that it was like, this is sick. This is like this adds to the drama. This is crowning the king.
No.
It's a sign of a huge respect in their culture.
But it's making it about their culture. This isn't about their culture.
But I guess it is the Arab World Cup. Every World Cup has...
Is Messi winning the World Cup?
Pele put a sombrero on when he won in Mexico.
No, but was it when he... No, but you can put it on after. I have no qualms with that moment for the lifting of the trophy.
I mean, they can't...
It's not about you.
Because people kept... arguments were... They kept bringing up this sombrero.
But he probably didn't... He wouldn't have lifted the World Cup in a sombrero. And that would have been iconic. There's no way he lifted the World Cup with a sombrero on. He might have. I might be wrong.
Maybe, but I haven't seen that photo.
I would have seen the photo.
You would have seen...
Hey! Yeah. Obviously put it on after. I just think that was one of the biggest World Cup moments. That was the crowning of a king. Like, one, it covered his Argentina badge. And it's like, it made it about them and their culture, which is like, no, that is not your moment. This is Messi and Argentina's moment.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
And it ruined pictures.
It did ruin.
They've ruined pictures forever.
But it's almost like
that's one of the biggest moments of football ever.
I probably would have been more into it if... That's why the most iconic picture now is him kissing the
yeah, exactly. Because you can't have the lift.
Yeah.
Because it's weird.
It's weird. It's odd.
It's just like, that's not his culture, and it's fine. Embrace it afterwards, but for that moment, it's Argentina, it's Messi, it's him. Stop making it about yourselves.
I think I could have been swept up by it if the cloak looked fucking sick. like if it was like a Mac Daddy coat, but it looked like shit.
I don't think I could have been swept up on it.
Because I'm sure it looks quite good if you're wearing traditional Arab garm and you put it over it. That's why it has this. It's called a bisht or something. It's like to show. It's to honor your guests. If they're already wearing Arabic gear with the black thing, that probably looks swag.
No doubt.
In a sweaty after an Argentina game, it looked like he'd been caught in a net.
He did.
It just looked loose. It didn't have any.
Let's be honest. He looked like a fish.
Yeah, he did. And I just think if maybe like imagine that with like a big fur coat, a big Mac Daddy, big chain, put a pimpin. A pimpin
like
top hat to the side.
A fur top hat.
Yeah, then he's pinning it up.
I'll probably ruin the moment more.
What do you think? Maybe, what if he had like a big clock?
Okay, now I'm sold. Yeah, big clock. I'm in. But it's not. No, because it's maybe the most iconic lifting of the World Cup that could ever be.
Yeah.
And they've taken away it now. Just there's something like why is he? I'm gonna have to explain to my grandkids. Why is he got?
You're gonna have to explain.
I'm gonna have to explain. It'll be as soon as they can talk, they're gonna ask that question.
So their dad's not gonna explain to them.
No, their dad's a fool. Their dad doesn't know what day it is. He's off somewhere, not doing well. I didn't raise him well. I'm trying again with the grandkids.
You're trying again. It's second time round.
Yeah, they fucked him up.
Yeah.
He's divorced his wife. He's gone off. Left them with the kids.
I didn't mean to bring up. I know it's a top.
I find it, and I'm absolutely up for him putting on after for a bit when you walk around. I just find it. I think you can talk about culture and this stuff, but it is not their moment, and I think it's egotistical and selfish.
Do you think
they want to be? I think part of the cynic in me says they want to make it, crown it like this was the Qatari World Cup where it happened. It's like this isn't about where it happened. This was about what happened.
I would have. Do you think it would have been better if Salt Bae had put it on him?
I think if Salt Bae,
imagine Salt Bae was in the celebration
with the medals.
Well, he's just in the crowd with all the when he
could
lifting.
have sprinkled like confetti on them as they go past.
Or if they imagine this, the big moment, it's them all posing like this with Salt Bae.
Better, a lot better. I think that's a lot better.
For the big photo, it's them all going like this. What do you think is the most to take away from the history? What would be the worst item of clothing that he could have been given to sort of take away from the moment?
You know the answer.
What is the answer?
It's a fedora. You know it's a fedora or a trilby. We're still a bit confused about the definition between the two. But
so
I think a fedora, yeah.
If the fucking whatever his name was, I don't know who.
Salt Bae.
No, well, if Salt Bae gave Messi a fedora.
Look, the next World Cup, who knows what's going to happen? What would the English equivalent be of putting?
That's what I was thinking. Like a bowler hat.
A bowler hat. Like a suit.
No.
Well, that's all we've got time for.
Well, it's annoying because I kind of want to talk about the Gary Lineker pun.
Well, why don't we just end on the Gary Lineker
pun? Well, I'd rather you just talk about the Gary Lineker pun because we actually... Because we actually... You went through a bit of an emotional up and down with how you felt about this. I don't know if you watched if you watch the coverage... So you remember what the pun is?
Yeah.
If you watch the coverage on the BBC...
Yeah, keep going.
If you watch the coverage on the BBC, the final words of the World Cup after they've discussed, all the pundits have discussed in detail the game, the moment, the most historical final of all time, maybe the most historic World Cup of all time. They've had and this is the final line of the World Cup after a month worth of broadcasting before they have the big montage, summing it all up. Gary Lineker uses this opportunity to look down the barrel of the lens and say what?
It's beginning to feel a bit Christmassy. Now,
it's beginning to look
I think it's feel Christmassy.
Yeah.
Christmassy. That's not verbatim, but it might be.
Yeah.
Now, we all immediately...
We groaned.
And went in uproar.
Because Gary's known for his puns, but it just felt like...
I remember shouting, those are the last words of the World Cup. However, after about 30 seconds...
You paused, because me and Matt... were going in on Gary. We were, and then you had a little pause. You were Burrow Froud, and then you started pondering for a little
Burrow
bit.
Froud.
Yeah, you're Burrow. You're Burrow Froud.
Your Burrow was Froud. That was clear. That was obvious.
To everyone,
it's very obvious when you have a Burrow Froud.
Me and Matt were laughing, and then it felt like you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah,
because you were thinking. You were deep in thought.
Yeah.
And then when you start, after about 30 seconds, you spoke again.
Brave.
And you said it was brave.
Brave, one of the best things I've ever seen. One of the best pieces of broadcasting ever. Man took a risk, and not many of us take risks in our daily lives as much as Gary Lineker did to sign off the World Cup with that pun. The pun was so bad it was brilliant. After, again, it goes hand in hand with the whole Salt Bae on the pitch grabbing Messi kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing's real anymore.
No.
Let's end
the end of history.
We've just seen the most, the drama and the majesty of what sport can be in its cultural ideas.
Yeah.
Bringing everyone together, have the crowning of an individual player who might be the greatest in history. So what we're going to do is we're going to end it with it's beginning to feel a lot like Chris Messi. Now, I think it's brave. I'm proud of Gary for ending.
Did it make you feel proud to be English?
It actually did. It actually did. I was pissed off at first. I was the first one to jump on how shit it was.
were.
But then
You went quiet.
I thought about it and I was like, no, courage, bravery, power, knowledge, thought, and just esteem. To end that game with that takes a certain kind of man. And Gary delivered on it more than I could ever expect. Because
it's beginning to feel Chris Messi.
It's beginning to feel it's beginning to feel quite Chris Messi.
Yeah.
The delivery, it was quite a tough pun to do, and he did deliver it very well.
Yeah, he did.
The inflection was there perfectly. It was the perfect amount of dog
Chris
shit.
Messi.
It was the perfect amount of dog shit to finish it.
Yeah.
It was so... on a basic point, it was so bad that it was great.
Yeah.
And immediately, I think we were all swept up in the drama of the World Cup.
It brought us back.
It brought us clamming down to reality. Like, we saw... It took us a bit of time to come down to reality outside, like in the internet world. That's what Salt Bae did.
Yeah.
He brought us down into the messy human, kind of mud that we live in.
Lionel Messi.
There it is, you see. There it is. There it is. He could have even said that. But I'm proud of him. It took courage, and I think it was delivered perfectly. And it didn't sum anything up. It wasn't like the perfect closing line. But the reason why the reason why it was the perfect closing line is because it wasn't the perfect closing line. I think we could all learn.
And part of the reason why it wasn't the perfect closing line is because there hadn't really been any talk of Christmas during the World Cup.
Well, exactly.
It wasn't like it was the Christmas World Cup.
So now it's time to feel Christmassy. It's genius. It's genius, and it's like it's an artistic choice.
What do you think Gary Lineker would have said on VE Day at the end of the Second World Victory in Europe in World War II?
Yeah.
The guns have gone silent, and he's on the radio, and it's the end of the broadcast.
Yeah.
What do you think he would have said?
Oh my God! Well, I need what time of year was it? Was it near a holiday?
It was 1944. No, I think it was in spring. I think.
Yeah, but we need something to.
I don't know. He could have been like, I guess that was your last Hitler, or something like that.
Sure.
Do you know? That's just off the top of my head. You know.
Yeah, this is all off the top of our head. We've managed to climb the Winston Churchill of conflict.
That sounds a bit too Churchillian, actually. It's a bit too good.
It's a bit too. What other things there about war?
Nazi. No.
I
did not
see that coming.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say we did not see that coming. Congratulations, everyone. I think that's the one.
News is that Hitler shot himself in his bunker.
Yeah.
I guess
bunker.
We did not see that coming.
Ava Brown.
I think Braun Pun is pushing it. Thanks very much. We're going to leave with a pun from Gary Lineker.
It's beginning to look... I had it. I need to think it's beginning to feel a bit Chris Messi.